Outer Orange.
Oh, welcome back to Orange Gap, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, we're going to be going over some results, and we're going to be kind of talking about both the results for BSF. Also, we got some JP results that literally just happened, so we're going to have to go over that too because it's really exciting. So let's go ahead and get started. The Singapore Season 2 Top 32 deck breakdown, basically a bunch of Bav, and we have this Esther Sion deck that might be a little bit new. We got Heartlulu, which is a little bit of a new deck as well. Shenri, Blagmire, Odium, Leonor, and Sybil's Magnolia. Sybil's interesting. Kyrie, Ava, Bat deck, Doji, Prison Love, and I didn't mention Vergilla. Basically, we do have a little bit of a new meta here. This is a little bit different because we do have the Heart Luru, which is a new deck that some people might not be expecting. We've had some people on the Twitter talk about this deck over even on the English side, discussing how strong it is and how fast it can be, and basically how consistent it can be. So also a deck that we're probably gonna be seeing more of, especially on the English side. I see this deck, I can see this deck popping up a lot. This is basically what finished off. So Heart Luru did not finish, but it was in that cut, so I don't know what happened from there. But here is what basically this all looked like. Bunch of Bav, Bats, and Prison. I do want to mention the top 8 Sybil deck as well. It's a little blurry here, unfortunately. I don't know if we can get a better image. I doubt it, but yeah, we're not getting a better image. But if you're a Dragon Emperor, I mean, you probably know what's going on here. I see an Ace unit. I see we have the Pride Cyclers in here. We got the Energy Cycler. We have the Leafia, I believe, or Lefetti, which is the Stagger clone, or the Teofal clone, whatever you want to call it. We got the Shenri. I don't know what that card is, and we have some of the Sybil support. So I can give you as much as I can there. Don't know what the rest. I think this is Dangerous Fight with that, or a different new card. Hard to say here. And then we also have the Power Buff Overlord card. So looks like it's doing some interesting stuff. So if you check it out, if you're interested in that. And then let's go over to look at some other results. Team breakdown, of course, Bav and Vergilla are kind of like the main spots. Vergilla is starting to get really popular over in JP. I kind of didn't have as much popularity on first release, but now it's really starting to come up. And then we got a bunch of other decks as well. We got an Alfred down here. We got an Emma, which is a collab deck. We did see a Leonor kind of pop up, which is the Mask Leonor here. Got some Bats as well, and Minerva, which is the new Minerva as well, and Varga. Let's see kind of sort of what it finished off at. So this was a teams event, and we finished off with the Alfred, Odium, and the Vergilla deck, and we'll kind of take a look at some of these. Got Emma, the Leonor deck, Vergilla again, Blagmire, Varga, and Kitty Cat Girl, and then we have Bav, Heartlulu, and the Overlord deck. So we'll kind of take a look at these at the end here, so stay tuned. We'll look at those as well, so stick around. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe and like. It really does help the channel. We're trying to get to that 5K. I do have a bunch of goodies coming, so stay tuned. This is Richmond, so this is the top 8 deck breakdown for the teams. I see a Chaos in here, and actually people have been really talking about this, including me, because we actually do have the deck that topped with this, and I do think this deck's actually pretty strong. But anyway, we also have a bunch of other ones. Obviously above the Levy dresses, we got the Bats, the Night Roses, the Raziel, Odium, you know, the usual stuff. Majesty Lord is a little bit of an interesting one, but let's see kind of sort of what it finished off as. So it looks like finishing off with Bav on every team. That's crazy. We got Levy, Odium, we got Night Rose, Bav, Varga, we got Bav, Raziel, Bats, we got Night Rose, Levy, Bav. All competitive teams. No one coped at all. There's absolutely zero cope on these teams. It's actually kind of crazy. You would think someone would be coping, but no, this is all just straight meta, all competitive decks, all viable decks. It's just, I got nothing else to say. So yeah, so congratulations everyone, obviously, good job. And we'll take a look at some of these lists a little bit at the end, so stay tuned for that. And then let's look at yet another one. So this is the Germany breakdown, so also the top 8 teams. So again, a bunch of Bav, a little bit more Ava on this side. There's no Ava on the other one. We got Levy. Nui is more popular over in the EU side, so this is not too unusual to see. We got the Raziel, Varga, Youthberg, again, Diva, the Bats, Artaria, and the Jet. And then we finish it off with the Ava, Bats, Bav. We got Bav, Levy, Varga, Jet, Bav, Levy, and Raziel, Varga, Artaria. So again, not much copium going on here. Everyone kind of is playing meta. Maybe you might consider Jet to be a little bit of a weaker one out of the bunch, like the one that you'd see less. I don't think the deck's actually that bad, but it would just see less of it. And then yeah, that's basically what we finished off with. Honestly, I think this format is relatively solved for the most part. It really is just play Bav and play 2 other really good decks, and you're good to go. The good part is, aside from Bav, there's a lot of good decks right below it, so you kind of have a lot of options, which is why we're seeing a lot of this variety going on here. Well, I call it variety, but it's really the same, like 6 to 10 decks, with the exception of maybe something like Artaria back here. Germany premium breakdown, so we have some DP, we got some Nova Grab Blue, Spike Brothers, Shadow Paladin, Narukami, Angel Feather, and then this is how it finished off, with first place being the also premium singles. Anyway, first place was Victor, second place was White Rose, third place was Spikes, and fourth place was was Revengers. So we'll take a look at probably these as well. I will say I'm not currently testing premium at all. Like I have no reason to, because I'm playing Shadowverse Day 2, so I really have nothing to really tell you guys if there's something new, but I'm still going to go over them. I still have a lot of premium knowledge, so we'll still take a look at those a little bit later here. So we also have the JP results, which is basically just all the breakdowns, and I'm going to show you guys these, and then we're probably going to touch upon some of these decks and just kind of see what's going on. Now keep in mind, this is the future festival format. This also has the ace units in it, and I believe that's it. I believe, and Heart Luru, so set 9 is in here as well. So this is basically the current format that we'll probably be seeing pretty soon, actually, so stay tuned. So anyway, first place was kind of like this. Looks pretty normal, but I'm not going to look through all these like to the T and just kind of look through some of them. Like I just want to point out some unusual ones, like maybe the Leonard might be a little bit more of a standout. Maybe the Sharanui. It is interesting to see Sharanui pretty high up. We got a bunch of Vergilla. We have this Divine Sister deck that a lot of people are talking about, which we'll take a look at here in a sec. I'm not going to look at this too much because this is kind of the same. We do have the Cat Girl deck. Let's see if anything changes. We can actually see what's going on there. I'm not going to check out Doji because the ban lists are currently different, so it's kind of hard to look at a deck like this when we don't know if we're getting the ban list anytime soon. We got this one we can take a look at real quick. We've got the Zorka, which are probably 1-7, something like that, which is kind of funny that happens. They got carried by the Heart Uru and the Bav, which are both insane decks, so it can happen. And also, you know, things can go against you. You can have a bad day, so it makes sense. We got some overall, we got the new Minerva Legion stuff going on with the new Daikaiser stuff, so that's also really cool. We got an Archite. That's pretty rare to see. So we have the Mygo stuff. So that's all of that. I'm gonna kind of backtrack here and take a look at some of those lists that I was talking about. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. So let's take a look at this Alfred deck. So it runs the Blaster engine along with the grade 1 lets you find the dog, and then we're running this new guy here. This is like the kind of like the manga card, but it helps a lot. He's treated as the Gallatin, so basically he's a royal paladin guy. He just kind of calls cards out, stuff like that. He has a lot of text, and he actually does a lot, gets a little extra power. Very good aggro for turn 2, by the way. This card aggros are crazy. I actually did face into this deck with proxies, and this deck's really fast, so it can be very speedy. You do have to kind of live a turn sometimes, and I think board clearing can kind of hurt, but otherwise it can be very strong. So it can prevent your opponent from activating auto abilities as well. Like I said, it's got a lot of little cheesy things, little quirks to it. I see we're running these Spiral Cuties. They're slowly coming back. We have the Angel. I haven't seen this Angel in so long. This is an old Angel. That's the one that forces you to take a damage. So I guess if you're going down the route, we also got these new kind of like power creep cards that are basically acting like the old Angels that Soul Blast and retire and draw and all that kind of fun stuff. They just have additional effects on them. This one also can counter charge. Just a little extra goodies. And then we also have this guy, which is one of the new like I haven't even read this card yet. That's how ahead we are. This is a Vergilla. That's another card that it's treated as Soul Saver Dragons. That's really cool. So it's a Soul Saver Dragon card that like wants to be the front or rear. I haven't even I just have not faced this card. If your person road, choose all the following when this unit attacks. If this unit has standed by your Vanguard's ability during this turn, and that performs drive checks. So basically we perform drive checks for Soul Blast with Alfred. That's really cool. So we got this guy here, and then basically you have Alfred himself, who basically restands rear. Got the Coco for the play. I remember when someone was like, yeah, these cards are never gonna come up, and now they are coming up so much. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then we have this card as well. This card's insane. It's really good in like Youthburg and stuff like that, but we are kind of, we do have to wait for this card a little bit. We're getting this probably quite a bit later. So here is one. This is one of the more recent ones. That's running the grade 2 from the deck, and then I don't know what this grade 1 is. This looks new. It's a B209 card. That's interesting. So it's actually a brand new card. This looks like just came out. So it says when it's unit boost, if your opponent's Vanguard screen through your greater, it gets plus 5k, and then when an attack boost it hits, you can retire this unit to counter charge 1. So it's a generic count. Oh, this is also the power creep cards. This is a part of the power creep things. This one also finds you the same cards your Vanguard, so it searches your Vanguard directly. So that's also really good. You kind of need that in Vergilla actually, so that's a really interesting piece that people are adding in. But yeah, this is also part of the. You're gonna see a lot of these grade 1s. When I get to my what to buys, you're gonna see me talk the living crap out of these grade 1s because they're gonna be very popular. This deals with the Estion matchup as well. So if you're playing Dragon Empire, is a good card to run if you're in Estion meta, so it really helps. We have a little bit of that grade 3 searcher. We also have the direct searcher, so that's really cool. So yeah, we got a bunch of goodies now. So yeah, deck is getting stronger and stronger. We're starting this grade 1 that draws, so that's also really good. So yeah, good stuff. So let's see what else we have in store. So let's look at this Emma list real quick. Now I'm not really familiar with Emma, but I'm just gonna give it a just quick peek-see just to see something different for a change. I'm just kind of curious which version it is. So it looks to be the Dragon Empire version. This basically is like a restanding Vanguard. I just kind of wanted to show it because that looks cool. Looks like they're running the Shenry as well. But I just want to quickly showcase it. Obviously we don't have this, but I just want to look at it. Baggy Blag. So this is running with the Ace because I have Ace over there, and it's running the Interceptor guy along with Shenry. And looks like they're running the grade 3. They're running the Energy God. They have everything in here. I'm trying to think. Oh, they cut out the the order package. I see. I've actually been on this weird like thing, like deciding if so I'm obviously testing this deck right now, and I've been on this weird thing is like, do I want to also cut the order package out? Because I will not lie, running Shenri feels so good. Running the energy cards feels so good. Running Zamog feels good. Running the Ace feels good. The grade 3 feels, everything just they're all such good cards. So it's like, where do you cut? You know, the order package feels the most cuttable, but the downside is like, you know, the order package makes like these numbers like obscenely high, but you create such a board so fast that sometimes you don't even need this boosting in the back row. But I will say it might be a win harder button. I don't know. It's just, but they're so good to keep in the back row too. It's such a hard call with the order package because they're just such good cards, but maybe this is better. I'm not too sure. Like I said, there's so many different ways to kind of take this deck. I think at the end of the day, as long as you're drawing and still charging the right cards and correctly playing Blang, you're fine. Blang is a really powerful deck. I will not lie. I think this is like insanely strong now. I think this deck is cooking. This deck is so ridiculously powerful. It's insane. It decked in so much, especially with this new wizard. This wizard just says on place from hand. Check top 2, one to soul, one to bot, and then you're gonna shuffle it anyway. And then counterblast, bind itself, go grab a guy that you need back to your hand. Like, okay, like toolbox, hello? Like, it's so good. This deck is definitely a menace. So something to keep a look at. I'm giving you this to just like, give you the personal knowledge right here. This deck is this is a powerhouse deck. I think the mirror is gonna suck the most, but this is not a deck to sleep on. This is a bad boy right here. You do have to live a turn. You do have like this kind of weird thing where sometimes you have too many grade 3s, but your early on draw so much, and you also filter through your ride line so much, like you'll just be sending back like a bunch of cards. Like, you know, it's kind of your ride line is kind of like more insane now because you'll be still charging pieces that you get back and all this kind of good stuff. So anyway, long story short, your hand should be healthier now because we're not running like as much Hyro. We kind of have the energy cards to help out and all this stuff, but it's still, you still need to, you know, be cautious of like going second, stuff like that. That's a really powerful deck. And then I'm gonna look at a Heart Luru list. I will not lie, I have not read all these cards yet properly, nor have I tested this, so I'm just gonna kind of show you guys the list for the time being. You'll definitely see me talk more about a deck like this because one, I actually really like the way this deck looks. I just think it's super cute, but two, I really like how this deck plays, and three, I'm just a big fan of Dark States decks right now, just because I just really like the Shenri clone. The Shenri clone is my favorite thing ever. So this is what it looks like. Overall, we're gonna come back to this, but here's the list for you if you guys want to see it now. Let's go over to the English side. We kind of looked at a lot of JP stuff, so let's see. Actually, no, I do want to look at one more list. There is an Overlord list I want to give you guys a quick look at because it did get support. And it's a promo that we'll probably be getting towards the end of the year, so it's going to take a second before we get this, but I did want to at least show you guys the deck. It runs this new Overlord that makes the deck way stronger. I just want to give you guys kind of a look at it, just so you guys have an idea of what we're going into and sort of what you might be playing. Looks like we're running this new guy from the SS11, so that's also interesting. So these are the festival collection cards as well, so be on the lookout for this deck. I actually think people will be playing it on the English side probably more, but we really desperately need this card, so something to keep in mind. They're also running the Regalas from the Master sets, which we're also getting this week as well, so be on the lookout for those. Well, not this week, I think it's next week, but they're soon. They're coming out soon, very soon. So yeah, so there's that. I did miss one more deck I want to look at, and it's actually the Leonorn deck, so let me also take a look at that one. I think Leonorn is going to be insanely powerful going into set 8, set 9 realm. I think it's a little bit slept on. I've seen some people kind of put it down a little bit, and I don't think it's that bad. I think it's a really strong deck. I think this grade 1 really changes things. I also think adding in the order makes it a lot more powerful with the mask engine, all this stuff. I do think this deck has a lot of sauce behind it, and I think it's very fast. You can kind of close out very quickly. The mask is also very speedy. I do think this is definitely a deck to be a little bit cautious of, and definitely be on the lookout for this. I do think this version is very order heavy. I don't know if you want to be running this many orders, but they did kind of opt for this for the Zorka ride line, so maybe that's why they're running so many orders. I will say I'm not a big fan of all these orders, and if it were me, I might be playing the deck a little bit differently, but that's you know, just my personal opinion. Doesn't mean it's bad, but this is definitely a going blind, go second deck, and you just kind of beat your opponent's skull in and hope that you can win off of it. You just have to be cautious of how you play. You can't just, you know, be stupid. You have to be a little bit smart with your decisions. So yeah, really cool deck, really excited to see it. So let's go on the English side. Finally, let's go look at some English decks real quick. I'm not going to look at all the levies and all the bobs and all that stuff because, guys, I ain't gonna lie, we have been looking at these decks for like months now, and aside from like some small little adjustments here and there, we've really been seeing the same decks. But I do have a Night Rose deck. I'm just curious to see if anything changed or someone decided to play something differently, which this person did make a slight difference. It's minor. They're basically playing this little revival guy, and they're also playing a little maple here just to kind of help a little bit with the deck. So that's also interesting, just a different version. And it is nice to see a little bit of adjustments here and there. I will say most of these are so meta, it's not even funny. It's crazy. I wasn't expecting this much meta. Usually Summerfest is very like yeah, I want to play my pet deck, or you'll see pet decks more often, but we're not seeing any pet decks. That's crazy. Or very little pet decks. We're going to go look at another one. This is Ava. This is the first place Ava list, and a lot of people are really hyping up Ava in a good way. So this is Ava. You will notice it's pretty standard. I will say this list is very different. So most lists I've seen have this at 1 because they have the grade 1 monster card at like higher numbers to have like a really aggressive turn. But maybe just having the ops grades is just as good. Like it might just be that. And they are running a heavy amount of orders back here. There's also the monster order, but that's behind my camera here. So they are opting to run that. They're running a pretty good amount. You really need these for just obviously the Bav matchup, and then we have these just for the constant protection. And after that, we just have monsters and upgrades and all that good stuff. So I guess they just chose to not go super monster heavy, which is perfectly normal. Some people just opt to not go super heavy on the monster package, and they just kind of like a backup plan more so than a mandatory go-to plan. Depending on the deck you're facing, if you're facing Bav, you're probably gonna go for this, and if you're not facing Bav, you're gonna pick up this. So it kind of just depends on the matchup. And yeah, it's basically Ava. Hasn't changed too much overall. The deck's about the same. Let's also take a look at Jet, because that is definitely a more abnormal deck to see. At least nowadays, it's definitely not nowhere near as popular as it used to be. So here it is in all its glory, and it's just literally running all the Jet cards. Like they're running the Lantern. I like that's not going super heavy on the cycler engine. Like they're not like running like all the grade 2s in the world and just to draw a bunch of cards. That they're kind of keeping more even. I like that a little bit more. There's the grade 1s in here. They do run the Shenri. Obviously, Shenri's just an insane card. This deck does use a lot of soul, so Shenri is helpful. They're also running this grade 2, which also uses soul, so this also kind of helps. This, funnily enough, does proc on turn 2, so you can actually activate this as well. You can draw cards with opponent's rear guards, or up to one card from binds will put a bottom deck of the deck. So that's really cool. You choose one of your rear guards, or up to a card from binds will put a bottom. So that's also interesting. A very different ability. So that's also really cool. So you have to have a Gear Dragon Vanguard. I'm pretty sure this is a Gear Dragon Vanguard. It is. So is this grade 1? Yeah, it also is. So yeah, you never have that problem. And they're running a little bit of that package with the grade 3s. We also have the grade 2 that lets you draw, and then also gets a bunch of power. So also just really good. He also gets a little bit of power. Depending on when you play him and where your GB is at. So yeah, interesting list. It is running the command as well, so you know the little bomb decker. It's also really cool stuff there. So yeah, really awesome. And then to look at this Artaria deck, I'm just curious to see if it's lyrical pile or if it's actually a little bit different, because my list is actually a little bit different from like the standard list. But maybe it's just how I play. And it is, oh my god, this makes me so happy. Whoever this person is, I'm so happy that you're not playing a full cycler build. So they are running a different build, which I really like. So people don't really run this card, and I don't know why. This card's insane. It reads so normal, but if you actually play Artaria, you'll understand how powerful this card is. So basically, this Artaria has this kind of weak early start and kind of gets more insane as the game goes on later and later. So why is this card good? So this card says when it attacks, gets plus 5k for each sound system in your order zone. So this card scales on its own as the game goes later and later. But what's really important here is when it's returned to the rearguard circle, or when it's retired, if you have a Vanguard with Artaria's card and you still blast 1 and choose one unit to get a plus 5k, you ideally want to actually pick the Vanguard because it makes the Vanguard always hit for magic numbers. You'd be surprised how many times I play Artaria players and the Vanguard's like 13, and I'm like, you can just drop anything and it's basically a 2 to pass. But if you put the 5k on it, now it's 18k. Now it matters how I guard, and that really is really impactful, especially if you don't get the order early, or you don't get your grade 1s early, or you're missing your cyclers. If something's going wrong, this card kind of helps you fix those problems, and it's really good. I'm really happy to see someone's playing it unironically. I think the card's insane. Maybe I'm overhyping it. I just think it's really good. I think for this deck in particular, it works. Any other deck might be a little bit less. They're also running the grade 2 that lets you draw for CB. They're running this over some of the cycler cards, which I can understand. This one I'm a little bit more iffy on, just because this card can be a bit of a hit or miss, but it is 10k shield, which can come up in certain matchups, so they're choosing to run it as well. And then I think this grade 1's not so. This one lets you bounce any rear guards back to your hand, so into matchups that are heavy board retire, this card's good. So I also think this card is good. So also a 13k beater, which also helps with magic numbers early on. They're running the Yuccas. The Yuccas can be a little awkward because you eventually have a bunch of board of tokens, but it still can come up and they're still really helpful, and still you want to do the early turn 2 rush, so it does come up. They're also running this grade 1. Sorry, this is a card that's starting to come up a little bit more now. I'm seeing like more lists are starting to run it, including Kyrie. This one says during your turn, if you have if your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, all of your other units in the same column get as this unit get plus 5k. Basically, it makes more magic numbers happen into certain matchups. So it does come up. You can also again put it behind Vanguard, and then if you put it behind Vanguard, you also get the magic numbers there as well. So that's where it comes up the most. most. And they are running the lyrical OT, which is also very interesting. They're also running a little bit of countercharging. You do need it. Lyrical has a huge issue about countercharging and CB, and the Halberd is one of the best regardless pieces for lyrical, unironically, because they really need it. Not every deck obviously has to play it like Catgirl doesn't, but you still need it. It still comes up. And then we have the sound systems here, HF3, which I think is perfect. But overall, I really like this version of the list. If I was playing Artaria, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, I would be on a list like this. And that's honestly, I can go grab my deck right now. It's so similar to this list. It's not even funny. Gosh, that makes my day. I'm so happy to see someone else experimenting with other cards in the Artaria slot while we wait for new cards. It makes me very, very happy. I'm a happy person. All right, so here's the Victor list. I actually do know Victor a little bit. Looks like, oh my god, I haven't seen Brutal Jacket so long. Victor is pretty good going first. It's actually very popular going first because you also have resist and all this kind of fun stuff. So I'm not entirely sure matchup wise how this deck does, but it looks like it kind of just played for, you know, for the restanding. And they're, oh my god, they're running such an OG card. This is like, it doesn't look that OG, but it does look OG. It looks OG. I was running the Cyclers here. We got a little bit of new grade 1 that also lets you get counter charge if you have if your damage has no face up cards, and the deck really needs counter chargers, so it's really good. Got this guy. This is the guy that gives resist to everything. He's kind of nuts. He shoots 5 ears and they just get resist. So it's really useful into like those Denial Griffin matchups, or any matchup that can Denial Griffin. I'll let the experts look at this and talk for me because I don't know everything, but I do know Grand Blue quite well here. So we're gonna take a quick look at Grand Blue because this is definitely something I could talk about for hours probably. Even to this day, even when playing West Premium, I can talk about it for hours. So this one is running this funny little elemental until the end of turn. All your opponent's rear guards in the same combos as you lose all their abilities. You can't gain them. So basically, it's another form of like shutting your opponent out of certain effects that if they want to proc them. I think I remember seeing the person post their list like on Twitter, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure it was this one that I saw. So, but overall, aside from that one elemental, it is a rather standard list. It is interesting to see the mill here. It's just a little bit difference there. Some people took this card out, so it's nice to see them actually running it. And then let me see if there's anything else that's two out there. We're running the Jin. This is a little bit unusual. I haven't seen this card in a bit. I've seen it here and there, but not too much. It is a Soul Blast draw. And if you're trying to Soul Blast your deck out purposely to get a certain condition going, that's also really important. So yeah, but otherwise it's overall standard. I do like also the Bell edition. It does come up sometimes, so it's also really good. But that's all I have for this one. Quite a lot stuff to talk about. We have a bunch of stuff going on JP with a bunch of sets coming out between the Festival Collection, the new set 9, and also set 8. We got the Ace unit, we got the flag. We just got a lot going on, so it's a lot to kind of go over. And then also on the English side, we are going to some Summerfest right now. We are about to get the Master sets, and we're about to get set 8 real soon. So we're about to have a shift in the meta, and it's gonna be a really fun shift, I think, because I think everyone's kind of tired of Bav. And I'm hoping within all of it, we also have the June 18th rotation, and hopefully in there we'll see maybe something happen with the ban list, because we could really use a Bav hit. I'm not even gonna lie. I think everyone already is tired of Bav, and the season just started. So anyway, guys, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. It does help support the channel. 50cards.shop, code orange if you need anything while you're out traveling and you need cards, or you may be traveling for supplies, whatever it is. 50cards.shop, code orange to save yourself some money. Also, you can use BCW supplies, orange10. The code is orange10 to also save yourself some money on that end. You need supply storage, whatever. They got a bunch of stuff. You need your prize cards and some really pretty plastic. You can do that too. They got a bunch of the little goods to keep your cards secure. So yeah, do all that. On that, guys, peace out. That's what I know. See you guys in a future video. Bye.